Welcome to the future, where the glass is half full and you'll need new glasses, where you'll be jumping from conclusions.
The past is annulled, and a new future is born.
Never before in history has so much meant so little to so many. AD on the radio.
So when I was a kid, there were these older kids, these bigger kids, these tougher kids on the school bus. And they were intimidating dudes. They wore black T-shirts for bands with names I'd never heard of on them. This was not the stuff that my parents introduced me to. This was not Steely Dan and Dire Straits. My parents were yuppies. But there was something about them. They had an edge. They were scary. They had attitude. I think they might have been smoking a little wacky tobacco. They smelled funny. But there was something about them. Something about seeing these big, older, more dangerous kids on the bus. It's funny, I pulled out the yearbook a little while ago, and I looked at these kids that I was so scared of. I was like, look at these pimple-faced dudes with mullets. That's who I was, like, afraid of and looking up to. But I will give them one thing. When it was their turn to put a tape on the school bus tape player, they came with some interesting stuff. And as it turns out, my school bus driver was a bit of a metalhead, fulfilled a certain stereotype. He was essentially Otto from The Simpsons. So when he popped in a band that about made all of our eardrums bleed, a band that made me go, holy freaking gosh, what the hell is this? This scares me. I just had to ask. I was like, you're scary dudes, and this is scary music, but I want to know more. What is this? Who is this? What's the deal? And they're like, this is Metallica. And I remember being genuinely terrified by some of the things that Metallica did, but wanting to listen over and over and over again. And last night, that scary band, that band of darkness and intrigue that made you feel like you were possibly jeopardizing your chances of getting into heaven by listening to him, did this on The Tonight Show. And just like that, one of the scariest bands in history becomes cuddly and touchy-feely by going on The Tonight Show and playing Enter Sandman with the Roots on Classroom Instruments. And it made me think, God, is that the final frontier? Is there no rebellion left in music anymore? And look, it was great. We all really enjoyed it. It was good times watching it. It was hilarious. And it does show that Papa James Hetfield can still really sing live without the benefit of a microphone or any kind of processing. He belted it out, and it sounded fantastic. His accompaniment with toy pianos and kazoos notwithstanding, it sounded fantastic. But it made me wonder, when was the last time you felt challenged listening to music? When was the last time you felt like you were being made to think listening to music? When was the last time you were scared of music? When was the last time you felt like music really reached you in a way that nothing else could? Hopefully, it was recently. And you know what? A lot of people would say this has been an imperceptible shift that's been happening over some time. I don't know if that's true, but it feels like all of a sudden, and perhaps this has something to do with the election. Perhaps this has something to do with the fact that there's a giant question mark hanging over the next 4 years. Perhaps it has something to do with the fact that because there is this unknown quantity in the world at the moment. People are thinking and thinking harder. People, all of a sudden, in this digital age where initially it felt like everybody had to be catered to in the first 2.5 seconds of a song or something that they were reading, seem to be willing to go a little bit deeper. The seeking mind is back in America. And I think that's a really, really good thing. Thank you for joining me.
Always fair and mentally unbalanced. KPRC AM 950, Houston's more stimulating talk radio.
Where the left and right come together for fundamental truths. AD on the radio, on Twitter at ADSXE.
We are joined on the show today by our former intern and host of the #1 hip-hop podcast in the universe.
Check 1212. This is Koncept714, host of WakeTheFlocka.net, the #1 hip-hop podcast in the world. You are now listening to AD on your radio.
Yep, that's who we're joined by. Koncept714 is hanging out yet again. Guy who's gone out.
Triumphant return.
Making your triumphant return. This is a guy who's gone away, won awards. Our former intern is up in the game. He's on all these different radio stations. You were in Adam Carolla's studio the other day recording an edition of your podcast. Like, honestly, when we met this guy, he had a microphone to his name. And we're like, this guy's good. We see something here. And Adam was like, okay. Podcasting. And Adam was like, okay. Quite the journey you've had.
Yes, and I owe a lot of it to you, AD. So I wanna come here.
Yes, you do, and never forget it. No, I'm kidding.
I've told
like
you
are.
I'm gonna chopper you into my island one day. It's gonna be shaped like my face, and you're gonna land in my mouth, and you're just gonna Jurassic Park type of situation happening.
Well, as soon as I'm done gassing up the Hyundai, I'll get straight over to your chopper pad and join you. No, it's awesome to have you back, and it's awesome to see how much Wake the Flock Up has grown. Who have you had on the show recently? In case you did not know, Koncept714 came to our attention first because I like independent hip-hop, and there's this fantastic rapper, guy called Wax, who tweeted out an interview that he'd done. And I was like, cool, I like Wax, I'll take a listen to this. And partway through, I was like, not only is Wax hilarious and this is a great interview, but the interviewer is really, really good. Like, this is fantastic. This is digging in a little bit more. This is really getting into the nuts and the bolts of the musicality of all this stuff. These are all the questions that I would ask this guy if I had a chance to sit and talk with him or any musician. And you might like this music, you might not like this music. But the conversation that Koncept714 has with musicians, specifically those that make independent conscious hip-hop, I suppose I would call it, truly fantastic stuff. If you haven't had a chance to listen yet, please check out WakeTheFlockUp.net. But who have you had on the show recently? You've had some good gets. Yeah,
so recently we had legendary hip-hop artist AZ, who was part of crew with Nas and The Firm. You might know The Firm. We had AZ on, and I'm really Slug from Atmosphere. We had Slug from Atmosphere since we last spoke. So that's kind of Slug being my #1 of my top 5 of all times. That was legendary for me, and also him just being kind of like the pinnacle of independent hip hop, right? Like, Atmosphere, like, you don't get any bigger than that in independent hip hop. So having him, and after the phone call, he was like, dude, it was a great interview and I had a great time. And it's always good to hear, when I hear these three things, I know I did a good job, AD. So it'll go, I've always wanted someone to ask me that. So when I hear that from people that have been asked questions thousands of times, that's really good, right? Or, I've never thought of it that way. From these kind of people. So when I hear these kind of things, it makes me feel like I did a good job, But I was saying, I owe a lot of it to you, AD, because of you, I was able to, learn kind of radio etiquette and totally just ignore that. as I do my shows, apparently. But because of you, other people here at the station and other shows heard my genius and they wanted to be a part of it, and then they asked me to join their team, and so forth came the beginnings of a career.
Why don't you guys make out already?
I would.
Well, I'm just, I as long as I'm just happy because I know that now on my gravestone, you can put "Here lies AD, conduit to Concept's genius." Good for him. It's only right that I do clearly thank you for everything, AD. So thank you so much for not a problem.
No. I know it was unintentional. You didn't think that who's a little chubby kid coming in here and interviewing all these people. I want to know who it is. And then it turns out it just be this dude that just won't go away.
No, it was awesome. I'm really glad it turned into that. It's really, really cool. I'll never forget. Yeah. And this is I'll never forget. Not to look for those listening. This is a little peek behind the radio curtains. This is like the origin of how things happen. I'm not a big deal, but where we do stuff and how we do things, and some of the stations I'm on, they're it's kind of a thing. And I hear this podcast, which is literally a guy with a microphone, and I write to him, and I'm like, "You're talented and good, and I would like to have you come in and come on the show and sit in, and and it's." Again, not trying to toot my own horn too hard, but it's kind of a big deal to be asked to do that if you're a dude with a microphone. And Concept was like, "Yeah, I got some stuff going on. I'll get back to you," and never did. And so, a couple of weeks later, I was like, "Hey, buddy, want to come on the show?" I was like, "Yeah, we'll make it happen." Or something like that.
Was it?
Oh my God. I felt like I had to, I turning down interviews with people in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because I don't have the time, and then actively trying to court some dude in Orange County with a microphone to his name to come in here and be on the show. I'm really glad I had the tenacity to stick with it. Hey, by the way.
Yeah.
How strange is it? Slug from Atmosphere. And again, this is kind of inside baseball, but stay with me on this one. How crazy is it that the pinnacle of independent hip hop comes from where it comes from?
It is.
When you think of a big hip hop city, do you think a place that is irrevocably associated with cheese curds and people saying, "Don't you know?" Do you think of Minneapolis as being the place where the hard rhymes are going to be written and laid down? No, you don't. But that's where it happens. More from Concept when we return and do the news with Funkhauser.
To the crown. Radio. Radio. 104.1. Don't get the blues, get all the news. We mean all of you guys out there in Radio Land. All aboard!
He's back. AD on the radio.
Give it up, yeah. Give it up, yeah. Bring this on, come on.
So, Concept and Funkhauser, let me ask you this. Are you guys manly men? Can you do manly things? Okay, I'll throw this one out there. Can you guys change a car tire if it goes flat on the freeway?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Nah. I tried once. It didn't really... Didn't get through that. Yeah.
He didn't have to leave the car there. He just left the car there and walked away.
Do you know how to fix a leaky faucet?
Yes.
Probably.
Funkhauser?
Probably. I mean, I have one now. I haven't gotten to it yet.
Only because, thanks to the rapid wussification of America, apparently American men are losing a great deal of skill. American men are losing a great deal of skill. Things that were traditionally regarded as being manly skills that manly men should have, or at least somebody in the house should have. It's gotten to the point where none of us have them, and we're going to talk about the skills that modern men are losing a little later on in the show. I want you to think about what you can and cannot do that your dad or, your mom was able to do growing up that you're just now clueless about. So keep that in mind as we go through the events of today. Funkhauser, what is going on in the world?
Oh, I missed this song. I've missed this music.
You have?
Yeah.
You should listen every day then, like the rest of us.
Yeah,
How dare you?
really easy to hear it.
I listen
Really-
to every episode.
Oh, you miss it being here.
Yeah, I miss it being...
Seeing the band play live.
Exactly. Yep.
Right.
Donald Trump is facing criticism for trying to sneak around without the press knowing what he's up to.
Like he was supposed to do a press thing and he bailed. He bailed to get a steak dinner instead. And people are really mad. Does he have a responsibility to talk to the press? Is that a thing?
I marked my words. Yes, I said it yesterday around here that we'll never know what President Trump is doing at any time of the day ever. He's going to be MIA.
What?
You really think so?
Yeah.
I feel like we know exactly what he does all the time. I mean, unless they take his Twitter account away from him, I think we're going to get a blow-by-blow account of literally everything that's going on in our America over the next 4 years.
We'll see. I mean, if they let him stay at Trump Tower, you know.
Hey, D, I was thinking about this. The White House has to be like the least nicest house he's ever stayed in, right? Like the house he stays in now has to be like 20 times nicer than the White House.
Well, I think he's trying to not live in the White House. I think that's already a thing.
Isn't it a law? There has to be some kind of regulation. No?
I don't know. I really don't know about the legal ins and outs about where the president does or does not stay. I think, part of it is like the White House has a certain amount of infrastructure and security that allows crazy people to just hop the fence and run on the lawn the way they have been over the last couple of years. But there, like I said, I think there's a certain amount of infrastructure and security that's built into the White House that it would be a huge headache to put in anywhere else. I mean, you can have all the Secret Service in the world, but, look how long the White House has been the White House. There's got to be stuff in there that nobody knows about that it's difficult to replicate anywhere else.
Right. That's strange to me.
You think Trump doesn't have his own Batcave already?
I'm sure he does, but I don't think he wants...
I don't know. The wall just was there, and now
there's a bust that he opened, and there's a button in it.
There wouldn't be any books to turn because he doesn't.
Oh, it's under his hair. Oh, that's a great idea.
But yeah, Donald Trump facing criticism for trying to sneak around without the press knowing what he's up to. Sneaking around should be easy for a 6'3" man with bright orange hair to blend right the hell in. That won't be a problem. I think he's going to have difficulty sneaking for a couple of reasons. One, 6'3" man with bright orange hair and a bright orange complexion. A giant road cone stands out as it's going through life.
Kathy Griffin calls him a pear. He looks like a pear.
Really?
He's the same shape.
I was with you on that one, AD. I'm thinking he could just like camouflage into the traffic cones, make his way out of there.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, but I there may be interesting and difficult intricacies to his presidency. Knowing what he's up to, I don't think will be one of them because he'll be tweeting that he had the best taco bowl at Trump Tower and he loves his Hispanics on a regular basis.
It's going to be like, I had my first PM at the White House. He tweets it live. I've tweeted.
I guess you could say that. That's fine. Sure.
Yeah, I think that's allowed.
Yeah, that's cool. No? Moving on.
Okay.
Moving on.
Let's see if the White House...
You can hear AD's regret on having me on. He's like,
I'm just
I forgot.
I wonder what that's like. Like, you've got to think that if you become president and you move into the White House, you're like, okay, all right, time to christen the presidential commode.
Well, AD, there has to be.
Let's see if the White House plumbing that has been in existence since way back in the day can deal with the end result of a bunch of Trump steaks and see how it holds up. I know I have intestinal fortitude. Let's see what our taxpayer dollars are doing in the world of presidential plumbing. And that's how many times have you moved into a new place?
And that's the first thing you rush to do as a guy, right? Like, I'm going to.
I don't know if you rush to do it. Yeah. I don't know if you rush to do it in that territorial way. Maybe you do, Concept. But I do know that the first time you christen the commode, you do take note of it. Like, I got to imagine when you first move into the White House, you're like, that's exactly it.
And there has to be a toilet.
Time to drop the presidential kids off at the pool.
There has to be a toilet that only presidents can use, right? So that means only 44 other people have ever used that toilet. Like, there has to be a sense of pride in that.
Yeah, I wonder if, like, in that case, like, I really, I would prefer it if you didn't change the toilet seat cover, because I want to know that my butt is sitting on previous greatness. Like,
Wow.
Generations of leaders of the free world
Yeah.
have had their bare butt on this same seat.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with that.
And the janitor. All the
Let's,
janitors.
Absolutely. When nobody's
I
there.
think,
Absolutely.
I think, we're done talking about presidential bowel movements, and we should move on to the next thing. What else?
Ben Carson says he rejected a cabinet position because he has, quote, no government experience.
Which is weird because, by that logic, he could be our next president. Like, experience not necessary. And what's interesting? I hear, and this could just be rumor and hearsay. And quite frankly, I don't think there's anything wrong with this. If it's true, I heard that Trump is making potential cabinet picks fill out job applications. Like, here's your application form, fill it out and get back to us. Like any other job. And you know what? I think that's good. Write down on this piece of paper why you're the right person for this responsibility. I think I have to do that. I think Koncept has to do that. Funkhauser has to do that. Why should the people whose salary we pay be exempt from having to fill out a job application if they want a job? Yes, I agree with this. Go on. What else?
More than half of the Portland anti-Trump protesters didn't even vote.
Yeah.
Wow.
More than half.
The old expression, you got to get down on the field and play, or if you don't vote, you can't complain afterwards. Burr, burr, burr. Like, I've always, whenever people break those little similes and metaphors out, I want to smack them upside their pointy head. But in this case, they're absolutely right. How dare you? How dare you get in the street and protest when you couldn't be bothered to get out of bed and go vote that day?
Yeah.
It's beyond belief to me. It really is. Although in the protesters' defense, I think most of them are millennials, and it's hard to make it to the polls when you're busy receiving giant trophies for almost making your bed. We were talking about this a little bit off the air.
Yeah.
Koncept. You have kids.
I do.
And
2 that I know of.
Is it true? Did you really? Your 10-year-old.
Yes.
Did she come home with a participation trophy that you threw out?
I made her take it back to school.
No kidding.
Yeah, I didn't throw it out. I made her tell her teacher that she didn't want it. And she kind of understood it. So this is what I'm very proud of. So she comes home. And yes, AD, it's not like a trophy. It's not like a little guy, a little golden guy on a little step. But it was a piece of paper that said, hey, and she was like, everybody in class got one of these, and blah, blah, blah. And I get it from like a teacher's perspective. Maybe you're just trying to encourage them, or, it's a good self-esteem exercise.
What did the piece of paper say?
It was just like, this is presented here to her for participation in class and having a great year. It was a totally just a fake award. It wasn't like a realistic thing, right?
Oh, hold on. Did you throw out an award, or did you throw out a souvenir, a treasured childhood memory? Because there's a difference between getting a participation trophy and then going, hey, here's something that you're going to put in a scrapbook, and in 30 years you're going to look at it and go, I had a great time in Mrs. What's-Her-Name's class. Did you just deny your child that pleasure moving forward? Did you scar her irreparably because you were all too reactionary when it comes to the concept of participation trophies? What did you do to your kid?
No, what I did is I made her work for her awards, because she's gotten other awards. And then later that week, she got an academic award for academic achievement.
Ooh.
That one we went to, took pictures, got a balloon, took her out and told her that's the way you come home with awards. You don't come home with a piece of paper that says, hey, you're alive and breathing in the same room as these other people. Congratulations, here's an award. That's why we build the America that we're in.
I agree with you.
Okay.
I agree with you. I just wanted to push you for the appropriate reaction, and that was it. But so when you sent it back, what was the teacher's reaction?
Well,
was she like, it's like CPS on the way over? Like, hey, don't let her get okay.
It took a little convincing of the child. Like, I told her, listen, what did you do to get this award? Well, I didn't really do anything. They would just give them out to everyone. So I told her, look, do you think that this award is something that you're proud of? And she didn't know. So her answer wasn't, yes, I'm proud of it. So she kind of understood when I told her, look, take this back to your teacher and tell her thank you very much, but that you want to work for a real award, right? And she understood it at 10. She kind of grasped it. She got it. Because she's received awards where she's worked for and taken tests and passed certain classes and blah, blah, blah. And those we do celebrate because they should be celebrated, right?
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think that recognizing the pride of ownership in your own work ethic and recognizing that you have achieved something, and boy, that wasn't necessarily pleasant. The work that went into getting this wasn't necessarily pleasant, but I can look back on it and go, that feels good.
Right,
I think that is an incredibly important thing to instill into a kid very, very early on. And by the way, I'm not in favor of the old participation trophy. I'm also not in favor of, games that have no winner. Losing is such an important experience. Losing is such an important experience. It gives you a foundation of wanting to win, and it gives you that much more of a sense of pride, and it gives you that much more of a sense of value when you do win. I mean, I get it when they're toddlers running around playing soccer or t-ball or whatever. Like, there's really no point in I guess making it competitive. But like when you start getting participation trophies in Little League and stuff for not winning, like, no, you got a T-shirt, you got a hat, you have a glove. That's your souvenir of having done something. The winners get stuff, and it's symbolic, but, it's the feeling that goes along with it after having won.
I agree 100%.
What else, Funkhauser?
Well, George W. Bush got himself a puppy.
Oh, yeah. George W. Bush got himself a puppy. Adorable. He can sit and shake and even potty on the newspaper, and the dog is smart, too. Classic misdirection.
Yeah. Time check. Back in a second with Taylor Swift up next.
God. Never do that again, even as a joke.
Traffic news.
Sorry. That just came out of me like a...
Can you give me the time 3 ways?
Yes, please. Let's do the time. We haven't done the times.
You want to do the time?
Well, no, can you do the time 3 ways, though? Like, say it is 9:45. What's the time 3 ways? Do you know this old radio trick? I have, old school radio buddies that go, can you give me the time 3 ways? I'm like, no. But I have, 8 jobs. Does that, make up for it?
Hold on, can I try? Can I try it?
But it's, do you know, I don't even really know what the time 3 ways is. All right, say it's 9:45 in the morning. Concept or Funkhauser, have a crack at this.
Okay.
What is the time 3 ways?
So it's 9:45 in the morning. It's 15 away from the top of the hour. And it's mathematically...
You got 2 of them.
Okay.
Fail. Funkhauser?
9:45, quarter to 10.
Oh, quarter to 10.
15 minutes.
Wait,
till
quarter
the top of
to
the hour.
10.
You got a quarter to 10. It's quarter to 10 right now.
Wow, look at that.
You got to be there at 10.
Yeah.
You got 15 minutes.
Why do we... Why... So...
This
I was
is before
filling in for...
clocks were everywhere, right?
Here's Rihanna.
This is when you'd have to drive past a bank to find out what time it was. It's not like...
Well, so this is my point exactly.
Yeah.
I was asked to fill in for a rather large morning show a little while ago, and I was
brag.
told every time I open the mic, you gotta give the time and temp. I was like, why?
The temp.
Literally everyone knows what time it is all the time. I think people would like a little bit of a break from knowing what the hell time it is. They have... nobody leaves the house without something on them that gives them an update on the time. Everybody has a reminder set in their phone of when they need to be somewhere. And if they're curious about the temperature, stick your freaking head out the window. Or, again, look at your phone.
Starting from here, my head is where I feel numb. From the front of my neck to the base of my skull. Taking it back by the way my mind is.
It's okay to disagree. It's not okay to be understimulated.
Well, I was just thinking that...
This is KPRC 950.
Now, more AD on the radio.
So, fixing a leaky faucet, changing a tire, things of that nature. Apparently, these are skills at one point in our country's history associated with manliness. And apparently, due to the wussification of America, we, the people, are losing our abilities to perform certain tasks that were regarded as being a part of any manly man's existence back in the day. Koncept says he can fix a leaky faucet and change a tire. Funkhauser can only do one of those things, and we're going to talk about the skills that we are, as a people, apparently losing a little later on in the show after we roll through what remains of the news. Funkhauser, what else is going on in the world?
In Australia...
Oh, God.
In Australia, a woman... got pregnant twice in 10 days and had twins. She did.
Crikey.
Crikey. Struth, mate.
Crikey.
Wait, so Australian woman got pregnant twice in 10 days and had twins.
Twice in 10 days.
That's what I said there, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Over in Australia, they're calling it a miracle. Here in the U.S., we call that a Duggar. Aw.
There's a new family now.
That's awesome blossom story of a I like
awesome blossom. Have you ever had
that. Never.
a bloomin' onion? Is that a thing for you?
No, that's what the awesome blossom is, right?
Yeah.
The blooming onion?
Yeah, bloomin' onion.
Yeah. Outback Steakhouse, never. I've never been. I don't think I've ever been to Outback.
You know, what about you, Funkhauser? You been to an Outback Steakhouse? I mean, being with your vegan girlfriend, Canadian Jane, for the last couple of years, I can't imagine it's high on the list of places to go eat.
It's been a fortnight.
It's been a fortnight
since I've had a rare steak.
Fourscore.
Yeah.
But you ever been there?
Oh, yeah. Good.
I ate a bloomin' onion. Like, I'd never been to Outback, and I was like, I guess this is what you do. You get a steak and a bloomin' onion.
Uh-huh.
It took me like 3 days to recover from the experience.
I bet.
And I have I've got a pretty sturdy gastrointestinal tract. Like, I'm used to doing horrible things to my digestive system and being fine with it. That just knocked me on my butt for days at a time. That onion thing, it made me question everything.
You questioned existence after you ate it?
I questioned my decision-making process after I ate 2 pieces of it and went, whoa.
Wow.
This is greasy and salty, and then ate the whole thing. Like, I was just like, what the hell was that? I didn't even like it, and I ate the whole thing simply because it was in front of me. It was a bad, terrible, awful move on my part. But part of the reason why I finished the whole thing is I think to myself, one day I'm going to go to Australia, and then I'm going to compare the Australian cuisine with that of Outback Steakhouse and be like, I would like to try a bloomin' onion.
Uh-huh. And then we have no idea what
happens.
They don't know. They don't know what that is. That can't be like a native dish from Australia. Deep fried onion. That sounds so American.
Deep fried anything sounds either very American or very English. Like, growing up in England, England invented the concept, all these deep fried candy bars and deep fried butter and deep fried everything that you see. That is intrinsically a part of the British culinary experience. Yeah, well, like fish and chip shops. You know, you batter some fish and you deep fry it and you serve it. And fish and chips is delicious, but you know, I suppose while they're not cooking fish, this is the thing. Everybody I know that has ever gotten a deep fryer. Do you have one, Funkhauser?
No, not yet.
I have them for wings. I make wings at home.
So you've got a deep fryer concept. If you are like everybody I've ever spoken to that got themselves a deep fryer, you go through a period of going, will it deep fry? And you try every type of food in the fridge, like
so true.
bananas, yogurt.
Yeah. Absolutely.
My dog's squeaky toy, the shoe, ice cream. Everyone I know has gone through that phase of trying to deep fry literally everything that they were thinking about eating. Like, I think I'll have a sandwich. I wonder if I could deep fry it.
Oh, man, I'm gonna go crazy.
So I think that is how this happened in English fish and chip shops. They were just sitting there between making delicious deep fried cod and haddock, and they went, "Oh, I have a Mars bar in my pocket. Let's give that a go." Because like the deep fried Mars bar, that was something I was seeing in England long before it became part of the county fair culture here, where people try and like actively kill themselves with one gastronomic death blow as they go ride some rides. And that was the first time I seen it. And so I think that comes from England. Deep fried everything, deep fried
Very
Mars
cool.
bars and candy bars. That's what I think. What else?
Oh, man, so many things. German police raided a Muslim organization and banned them from practicing in the country.
Oh, the German government persecuting members of a religious minority? What could possibly go wrong?
Here we go again.
Are there any historical lessons that would say that might not be the great... no? Okay, we're fine. Carry
on,
Germany.
Our leaders can't read.
Wow.
So they wouldn't know.
Achtung.
Baby.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. They've got a real problem in Germany. And I think, like, a buddy of mine lives there. He's a dude from Texas. He got married to a German chick, went over there, had kids. Didn't work out with the German mom, but he's got kids there. So he's like, I guess I'm living in Germany, at least for the next 18 years. And I was like, what's that like? He was like, dude, borders are open. People are flooding in. And he's like, what it's taught me is that you cannot paint with broad strokes. He was like, so many of them are the most awesome people that are just glad to be alive and looking for any way to make a contribution, and it's fantastic, and you feel like the country is richer and better for them. Some of them are shifty as hell and feel like the world owes them something and you just can't stand them. And I was just like, really? And he was like, yep, it is a mixed bag. And the thing that I've learned from it is that you cannot paint these situations with broad strokes. There is no black and white. There are various shades of gray. And I was like, that's interesting. And apparently one of the shades of gray over there has dictated that German cops are not allowing a Muslim organization to practice in the country. So there's that.
But yeah, we suffer from that here as well. I mean, I'm sure not to that extent. I think Germans have tried their best to like be on their best behavior for the last 50 years now, right? Don't you think?
Well, I don't remember the last time anyone went, oh, we got a problem with Germany again. Like that. That was...
It only took 2 world wars. You're actually right. For Germany to be maybe we should tone it down a little bit here, guys.
It only took like the threat of the... speaking softly and carrying literally the biggest stick known to man, a bomb that could end the world. But it's yeah. You ever been to Germany?
No, I want to go. I would definitely
Koncept, you would love Germany.
Really?
You would you know why? Want to know why?
Yes, I want to know why. I would love.
The Germans take their hip hop music more seriously than anybody I've ever met before in my life. It's a big deal to the German folk.
That's where we're going. Hey, deal. I'll chopper you in to my island, and then we'll head off to Germany.
I'll gas up the Hyundai and get right on it.
Mic check 1 2 1 2. This is Koncept714, host of WakeTheFlock.net, the #1 hip hop podcast in the world. You are now listening to AD on your radio.
There's something happening here, and you should know what it is. The Dumbing Up of America. Now, more AD on the radio.
Our guest on the show today is our former intern turned host of the #1 hip-hop podcast in the universe, Koncept714 of Wake the Flock Up. Check it out at waketheflockup.net. It's an awesome listen, and we are so stoked to have you back on the show. Thank you for being here and joining us, Koncept.
Thank you for daring to have me back. Thank you for risking. No, but I do want to defend this, AD, if I may. So a lot of people are like, what makes you say you're the #1 part in the world? Like, why would you say the world?
Yeah,
and,
what are the metrics behind that?
And I'm like, look, all I know is Orange.
AD said it once on the air to make it sound like we were doing a thing.
And well, I didn't want to say that, I put it on you. But I'm like, after I won the award, I'm like, well, Orange County thinks I'm pretty good. So that's as far as I know. That's
right.
Pretty well.
What was the coveted award that you snagged in Orange County?
So it was we were named the best podcast in Orange County 2016. And
wow.
And what to make the difference is that it wasn't like best hip hop podcast or best urban podcast. It was the best podcast in Orange County, beating out the famous Allison Rosen podcast, which for a while was dominant. And we beat her out for that award. So that, And
in the podcasting world, anytime you can lay the smackdown on a podcasting superstar like Allison Rosen, that's a big deal. And you know what? I think that's absolutely right that you won the overall podcast, not the hip hop podcast award, because your show deals predominantly with independent hip hop, which is very, very much inside baseball. However, literally anyone can listen to it and go, this is awesome. Because I've heard you interview really big deal rappers on there, some of my favorite musicians. And then I've also heard you interview folks that like, this is my very first mixtape and it came out last week, and I'm equally fascinated by the conversation in both cases. It's good stuff. You have an approach that humanizes everything and makes it very relatable. It's
That's
good.
the goal. It's the goal. And these independent rappers are like, oh, hey, this is my first tape. That's the essence of hip hop. That's where it's gonna begin. So one day Eminem was that guy, and all he needed was that one outlet to believe in him, to give him the kind of like the sense of someone cares, to continue and working. And there's people. These are human beings with dreams and ambitions. And someone like AD helped me. So it's only right that I do the same with what I can help with.
Yes. Each one teach one, as I believe they have begun saying in the urban community. We're going to talk about manly skills that Americans are losing, and before people go, hey, they don't have to be manly. In the past, they have been associated with, hey, if you need to know how to do this, son. You're going to need these skills moving forward, and that's a thing that you should be able to do. And when I say manly, I'm really referring to America's perception of them. I'm not trying to put any lady in a box and say this isn't something that she should be able to do, except for the one where it comes to growing and maintaining a beard. But we'll get into all that later. And by the way, if you're a female that's able to do that, thanks to your hormonal gift, and you like how it looks, again, I'm not trying to take anything away from you in that respect. But let's get to some more news. Funkhauser.
Well, a new report reveals Cubans are now fishing with condoms.
Huh?
What?
Did you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
How is that?
How does that
Fishing
help
with-
you catch fish? Wearing a condom while you fish? I don't understand that.
Well, I don't know that they
get
are.
The concept of
I don't think they're. I don't think they're wearing it while they're fishing. I think Cuba. Hold on. Let's see here. Too broke for boats. Cubans inflate condoms to find big fish.
Oh, okay. Well, that
Interesting.
makes a little more sense than what I thought was happening.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right. To each his own.
Yep. Cubans are now fishing with condoms. As of this morning, they've caught a ton of fish and 0 NBA players.
Wow.
Wow.
So far.
You know, I have a friend who's a professional surfer.
Uh-huh.
And he actually, just when you said, are they wearing the condoms while they fish? No, they're not. But like, I have a friend who's a professional surfer, and he was like, yeah, oh man, when you go surfing at this spot, you got to wear a condom. I was like, what? Huh?
Well, AD, you know they have
no. Wait and hear the reason why.
Oh, okay.
He was like, there's parasites that can get into you via that if you don't wear one when you're surfing there. I was like, ooh, I have a suggestion. Don't surf there. There's plenty of places all over the world where you can go in the water without the threat of parasites crawling into you via your junk. I would choose those surf spots. He's like, the breaks are really good there.
But it's
fantastic
a gnarly wave, bro.
That's pretty much, I paraphrase, but that's more or less exactly what he said. I was like, and like seriously, right now, just talking about it, like I'm squirming around in my chair, crossing my legs. It's just like unconscionably terrible thing to subject yourself to. So I don't think that's how the condoms are being used in the fishing process, but never. How? I don't know. Without getting too graphic, why don't we dance around this for FM radio broadcast concept?
Let the master at work. Okay, let's hear it.
I just don't
the
know
safest guest
how
in the world here is going to dance around.
I don't know how, if you're in the water, salty water with waves and a current, how that stays in place. Like, especially when you factor in that ocean water is cold and the concept of shrink, as illustrated in the classic Seinfeld episode. Like, how is that even a thing?
I was in the pool.
I was in the pool.
Maybe they use some kind of rubber band system to maintain its...
so not only do you have to be worried about...
Yeah.
Not only do you have to be worried about...
A rubber band?
Well, I mean, it's the only thing I can think of that restricts down to like a shape, you know?
So that sounds like the thing you would do?
Restricts the flow of blood so it dies and falls off.
Well, here's the thing. You're also talking about
I'm going to call this guy after the show and be like, why? Why didn't you just surf somewhere else?
These are people that are willing to risk just go surf. So I don't know if they're too like... oh man, AD, this is a tough.
Can open worms everywhere, which is a terrible metaphor to use, but Oh, now I'm picturing the worms. Go on, more different news, please.
The Denver Broncos linebacker.
The who's?
The Denver Broncos linebacker. I said.
I like the Broncos.
Von Miller is fighting the release of a sex tape.
Shockingly enough, the most shocking part of it, I think, it does not include a Kardashian. Now, let me ask you this.
Plus, I hear it's on Vine, so we're all safe now.
If you guys knew that there was a sex tape of you out there, would you have a problem with it coming out?
I can't answer that.
It depends which one, I think, would be... I'd like to know which one it is. I'd like to vet it first.
I think this guy's main concern, because I was thinking about it, I was like, who cares? Everybody's like, people that have had a sex tape have historically done fairly well, and it doesn't seem to have really damaged the careers of too many people. And but then I realized, like, he's got this guy's a big deal. This guy is like one of the biggest, if not the biggest, football player in existence at the moment when you look at it. And I'm sure he's got a lot of family-friendly endorsements worth tens of millions of dollars that he risks losing if a sex tape comes out. So now I understand why he's trying to block the release of it. But still, just knowing that he's in court fighting the release of the sex tape has to probably do something that's going to hurt his endorsement capabilities moving forward. Just knowing it's out there.
As a male, I propose this, AD. Think about this. What if it's he doesn't want it out because he's not a big deal, if you know what I mean? If he's not like, if he's not camera worthy of and he's just like, no, I don't want anyone to know about my shortcomings on or off the field. If you know what I mean. Like, he's just not. He's not first string, he's second string, maybe third or fourth.
I see what's going on.
See what I'm saying? I'm trying to do my best dancing over here, but
I've cracked the code. I've read between the lines. I think I know what you're.
I have more examples if you like.
No.
Okay.
No, I don't like.
Okay. All right.
Protect the license. That's the first rule of the Responsible Broadcasting Initiative. I think we get the point.
Yeah. What? Yeah. Have you thought of that? Maybe he just doesn't want
different news, Funkhauser.
Chad Michael Murray is in the news.
Thank you.
Chad Michael Murray wrote a romance
What, the guy
novel.
from like Chad Michael Murray? Isn't that the one that like my kid's sister was all into on like One Tree Hill or something like that?
I don't know. These three named dudes get me. They're all the
Chad
same.
Michael
Murray.
I can't remember.
Hey, what did he do?
He wrote a romance novel.
An actor writing a romance book? What's next? A reality television star running a... Oh, never mind. Chad Michael Murray.
That's an old actor. That's not a new actor.
Somewhere, Chad Michael Murray is going, somebody's Googling me right now. His phone's
He's
going
getting
off.
one Google alert right now.
Google
it's
alert.
going off.
Someone's Googling you now.
I guess he was...
Like a 70s star, right?
Why did I just Google Chad Michael Murray? No, he's not. No, he's...
We've all been asking, wondering over here.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing.
Of all things to Google.
Yeah.
His wife looks nice.
Oh.
No, she actually looks nice.
Oh, like a nice person?
Yeah, she looks like a nice person.
Like what?
Good for the wife.
All right.
Mrs. Murray.
Yeah.
7th grade English teacher.
She has a nice smile. Do you find that as you get older, like,
you notice different things about females?
Different things. Yeah, doesn't matter how unbelievably smoking hot they are.
Yeah.
If they look like they're not a nice person, I just cannot. It would be like I was permanently in the pool if I was with them, if you know what I mean, and I think you do.
I don't know.
I cannot get into women that I think
like
are...
resting B-face, you mean?
Not even that. It's just, I mean, because like some people are just, cursed with resting B-face.
AD,
I think I might happen to be one of them.
You're judging people based on their looks alone? Is that what we're
How
hearing?
dare
No.
dare you, sir.
I'm not judging someone on their looks alone. I'm just saying she looks nice. And then it occurred to me that being nice is really,
what you're looking for
something,
in a woman now?
I believe that being nice is the best way to be. I think that's
Yes.
Being nice is the... If you want to get my midsection singing Sweet Virginia, you must be nice, ladies.
Wow.
So,
You're the king of metaphors.
That's today's takeaway.
You are the king of metaphors, sir.
Are we almost out of show?
Yeah.
AD's like, man, how long is this show?
Time just flies by when Concept is around. All right, so real quickly, let's go over the skills that modern men are losing. They are as follows. Can you shine your shoes, guys?
I don't have shineable shoes.
There's a guy,
me either.
There's a guy for that.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah, no idea.
Yeah,
like I don't own a pair of shineable shoes. I do, but I only wear them like once every 2 years when I got to go to a wedding or a funeral, and they don't get scuffed up much, so I don't know how to shine them. Can you fix a leaky faucet?
Yes, I could do that.
Probably. Sure.
I was gonna the other day, but then I was like, it's water, and if water gets into the thing of the home, and I rent, and I was like, I just called the landlord, and I felt like I'd failed because I didn't fix it myself. But then I realized if I fixed it wrong, then I could actually do damage to the house that I would have to pay for. I was like, you know what? Not my problem. That's one of the joys of being a renter.
Yeah.
This doesn't work. Come and do something about it. Changing the oil in your car. Can you guys do that?
Yes.
I mean, I haven't tried. I'm probably going to Google it.
YouTube.
I can. I'm not gonna. I think there's...
I need to carve out 3 days for that.
Changing a diaper.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh,
Probably.
get out of here. Absolutely.
You'll find out.
I can't, but then I've never done it before, I think. But filleting a fish. Can you gut and fillet a fish?
Ooh, I have, but I don't know if I can do it without leaving some kind of spot, the little...
Note.
you know what I mean? It would be tough.
I've gutted fish. I've never filleted fish. Can you grow and maintain a nice beard?
No.
I can.
I'm just...
Yeah,
I think I'm hormonally challenged. Like it comes in all patchy.
Unfair question.
I look instantly homeless. Can you throw or hit a curveball?
Ooh. I believe I can do that.
I believe I can do both of those things as well. What about change a tire?
Oh, yeah. I've done that many times.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I got a flat tire the other day in the middle of the highway, and I was like, I'm not getting my ass run over just to replace this, and I called the tow truck. I felt unmanly, but also alive, so I was okay with that.
There's a lot of excuses here, ED.
You're an excuse.